You need to sit in the pain. You need to go to that dark place. You need to find it, sit in it, soak it up, absorb all that suffering, and then you'll be able to take control of your life. I know, that sounds really harsh. It sounds super unhealthy even, and I've had people say that. But you need to learn to thrive in the dark. You need to learn to thrive in where it hurts. Most people will never change their life in any area because, well, you get what you tolerate. You get out of life what you're willing to tolerate, what you will accept as enough, or all right, or it's not that bad. But in retrospect, it is. It is that fucking bad. It is that awful, and you don't like it. But instead of actually facing it, instead of confronting those places that you aren't happy with, you hide from them. You run away. You avoid them at all costs. You aren't willing to go into that darkness and confront it. So you'll continue to tolerate a life that makes you miserable and justify it because of circumstances or reasons or excuses. Justify why it's not your fault, why you can't help it, that's just life, or that's where you ended up, or those are the cards you were dealt with. And it's deeply, deeply fucking uncomfortable to face what you don't like. It's deeply uncomfortable to look at your life and pull it apart and examine all the bits to see where you could and should be doing better. But you'll get out of life what you tolerate. Not what you want, but what you'll tolerate. And so until you're willing to face head on all those areas that you aren't happy with, well, nothing's going to change. Because we've spoken about it before, that there are only two things that will motivate you to make a change in your life. Moving towards pleasure or away from pain. And consistently, and I don't think I will change my view on this, I don't think moving towards pleasure is ever enough. I don't think it's a strong enough incentive to actually change your life. Because the second the perception of the pleasure becomes less than the quote-unquote sacrifice or pain of change, as soon as they outweigh each other, you'll stop. You'll give up. It's also why people often do those short-term quick fix programs, especially if we're talking health and fitness. It's why people yo-yo, because they will get enough out of pain that it becomes tolerable again. And then they start going, do I really want to keep doing the work? Do I really want to keep pushing forward? Do I really want to make these quote-unquote sacrifices to have this? And because they've gotten away from pain now and then now they're trying to look into pleasure, they go, no. And often it's not a sudden, instant decision. It's not like, well, that's enough, I'm now going to quit going to the gym. It's more like, I'm a bit tired today. Or I've got a lot on today. Or it's a busy week. Or, I'll get back to it next week. And slowly these excuses build up. And slowly you start stacking these excuses. And then all of a sudden you're like, shit. I haven't done a workout in weeks, months, years sometimes. I haven't been eating the right things. I've been, seeking dopamine and comfort through the other areas. I've been doing all these things that have put me back. And I've been there. I can own that. I can put my hand up and say that I was there 450 odd days ago. I didn't have one off meal and suddenly wake up 30 kilos overweight. I didn't just have one bad meal and end up in hospital with my heart condition. No, that was constantly choosing these things. And it's the inch by inch by inch by inch that gets you. It's those small little decisions that add up into massive things. And suddenly you're 30 kilos overweight. Suddenly you're looking at the man in the mirror going, how the fuck did I get here? You got man tits and stomach hanging over your pants, and you're not sure if you're going to be able to see your dick unless it gets hard. Like, all these kinds of things. It's fucking embarrassing. But that happened because you tolerated it. And you tolerated it bit by bit by bit. And you tell yourself these lies that it's not that bad. I remember, legitimately, those things, that was me. That's not me throwing shade at people. That was me. Those were the places where I was at. Those were the thought processes I had. Fuck, I had my daughter ask me the question, which was a gut punch and a half, and she goes, Daddy, why are your boobs bigger than mummy's? Wow. That's what every father wants to hear, isn't it? But getting to that situation came with justifications. It came with bit by bit, things that I would tolerate, which I should have never tolerated. Never in a million years fucking tolerated. But you get out of life not what you want, but what you're willing to tolerate. And so I kept telling myself lies. I kept having justifications because I was working out. I was still working pretty hard Monday to Friday. My diet was okay. And I would tell myself that, I'm still fitter than most people. I'm still doing better than most people. And we've spoken about this before. It's the mediocrity trap. That if you're comparing yourself to most people, well, fuck. Going for a walk puts you above most people. It doesn't mean you're healthy. It doesn't mean you're fit. It doesn't mean fucking jack shit. The average person is sad as fuck and walking themselves rapidly towards an early grave. They hate their life. They're overweight. They have no energy. They're not doing anything in their life that they feel passionate or excited about. And we look at that and go, well, I'm slightly better than Joe Blow down the road. Look at me. No. 1, stop comparing yourself to others. 2, start comparing where you are now to the life you actually want. And if they don't fucking line up, well, shit, son, it's time to change. It's time to do something different. It's time to be a different fucking man. Make different life choices. And that's where you need to start. I was so heavily in avoidance. I wouldn't look at myself in the mirror. I wouldn't acknowledge where I'd gotten to. I wouldn't acknowledge the hypocrisy of telling people how to eat, the things they should do, how to exercise, that they need to get in better shape, that they should look after themselves. And then getting to the weekend and, here, I'll tell you exactly where it was. Because this was my go-to one, and I fucking loved it. Didn't mean it was right, didn't mean it was good for me, but it's where I was. And I would hit a large extra pepperoni pizza with garlic aioli. I would have at least 1 tub of Ben & Jerry's, if I could get it, strawberry cheesecake. I would usually have the combo so I could cycle through them. Bag of chips, killer pythons, and some form of chocolate, depending on... I'm not fussy on the chocolate, so whatever was on special. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I'd do that. And if I could convince my wife to join me on it, we'd have a bottle or 2, sometimes 3 of wine. Or I'd hit some whiskey if she wasn't going to join me. I was a fucking personal trainer. I owned my own gym. I was going to work every day telling people how to live their life for the healthiest version. The height of fucking hypocrisy. And I tolerated it. You don't get out of life what you want, you get out of life what you tolerate. And I believed my own bullshit. I believed all my own excuses and reasonings and justifications around it. And it was a fucking lie. Because I wouldn't actually face myself in the mirror. I wouldn't sit in the pain. I wouldn't sit in the darkness. I wouldn't sit in how uncomfortably far off the life I actually wanted I was. And that's the problem. Because you will not change until the pain is so great that it outweighs the perceived sacrifice and pain of change. Nothing will change until you face that. Nothing will change until you sit in that. And you truly, truly own how uncomfortable you are with this life. And that is why it's required. And that is why it's necessary to get into that headspace and to actually sit in that pain. Wallow in it. Bathe in it. Suck it all in. Feel all of it. And recognize that this is the problem. Someone told me the other day, and it hit me like a gut punch, that if you do not take responsibility for your life, if you do not step up and are willing to sacrifice everything that is unimportant for the greatest version of you, and that means health, wealth, and mental capacity, mindset, if you aren't willing to do that, the ones you love and care about will carry the burden that you are unwilling to carry. I don't know about you, but that's a devastating thought to me. That every time I choose the easy way out, if I choose the instant gratification, if I choose not to do the work, that my beautiful daughter, my incredible son, the love of my life, my wife, they are the ones who will suffer. They are the ones who will carry my burden because I was unwilling to do so. When I think about that and I sit in that, suddenly all of the rest doesn't fucking matter. My feelings don't matter. What I want to do versus what needs to get done doesn't fucking matter. And I don't believe there is any man worth his salt that doesn't feel the same. If you wouldn't give up, sacrifice everything for your family to have what they need and deserve, well, I really need you to question how much you value your family then. Because that's the pain that I sit in. That's the pain that I look to when I'm like, do I have it in me today? When I question whether I've got it, whether I want to do it, whether it's worth it, I sit in that pain and go, this is where my life currently is, and this is where I want it to be. And if I'm not willing to do that work, it's not me who will suffer. It is them. It's not me who decides what's tolerable. It is them who will suffer the consequences and have to tolerate from the choices I made. And that is deeply, deeply fucking unacceptable. And so therefore I get up, and therefore I keep going, and therefore I make different decisions in this life. Therefore there isn't anything that I wouldn't sacrifice for them. It is not their job to carry my burden. It is my job to carry the burden for them. That is my role as a father, as a husband, as a man, to provide and carry the burden. So I'll sit in that pain. and I will bathe in it, and I will use it as fuel. I will use the darkness as the energy to push me forward. Because greatness doesn't come from the light, it comes from the darkness. It comes from deciding what is unacceptable and figuring a way out of it, figuring out how to do what is necessary, no matter what. If it matters to you, which I am sincerely fucking hoping that your wife and children matter to you, then you will figure out a way to get it done for them. You will figure out a way to live that life for them, to do whatever is required. And as always, it starts with you being in the greatest shape of your life. It starts with you making those choices and demanding greatness of you. And it starts with developing those skills. Because if you aren't in great shape, you aren't able to give everything you need for them. So if you're ready to actually step the fuck up, if you're ready to become the greatest version of yourself, then click the link in my bio. Let's join Demanding Greatness, and let's see who you can become on the other side. You're going to need to sit in that pain for a little bit. I'm going to hold up a mirror. We're going to shine it on you so that you can see all the areas that you have been failing them. And that's not a dig at you. That's a necessary thing, because you've got to carry that chip on your shoulder, because it will give you more energy, more focus, more drive than anything else can. Because I firmly believe a man doing it for himself is powerful, but a man doing it for others is fucking unstoppable. So if you're ready to shine that light on you, to look in that mirror and see where the darkness is, and use that into the fuel to become the greatest version of yourself, let's get you into Demanding Greatness. I can't wait to see you then.